Hello, my little goblins. We're back at it again, and this time we're playing Witchcrafter. And my goodness, I know you guys love waifus, and we got some of the top ones of them all. Witchcrafters is an interesting deck. The deck got 2 new cards, 2 new additions, but they are pretty big ones. Now let's look at the first one. The first one, Witchcrafter Confusion. This is polymerization. It's polymerization, but it does have the added effect. If you control a Witchcrafter card while this card is in the graveyard, you can add it to your hand at the end phase, during your end phase. So this card, you're pretty much getting an ultra rare polymerization, which really stinks. I have no idea why this is an ultra rare, but it's kind of necessary for the deck. I am going to say that. If you really don't want to play these, this is your budget version. We're running both, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. But this is kind of your budget version, which is the magicalized fusion. But just remember, this card comes back to your hand, which is very important for the deck. Okay, but yeah, this is a real new card that came out. Witchcrafter Vice Madam. She's the new mommy, and she is a bad mama slammer. So let's just look at what she does. She can destroy 1 card on the field, special summon 1, level 6 or lower Witchcrafter monster from your hand or deck, which also said graveyard. Add 1 Witchcrafter spell and trap from your graveyard to your hand. Now you might be saying, this doesn't seem that good, Fatsoid. You're popping one. You can activate each of these effects per turn. So she has 3 effects she can activate per turn. And it gets kind of crazy. She's a really, really powerful card. And I think if you could use her and utilize her well, you're going to have a great time with it. But yeah, we're also playing a grass deck. We're playing Ishizu, but we're not playing Medora because it's too many fairies. But as you can see, 66% of the deck is spells. It's like 36 cards, I believe, in total are spells. And then the rest are monsters. Magician Souls is insane with this deck. Because remember, sending Witchcrafter spells to the graveyard, you just get them back at the end phase anyway, so card's nuts. But yeah, we're going to go into some games, and you're going to see relative how it plays. And then in the recap, we're going to talk in detail my thoughts about the deck and how the deck performed. Hello everybody, we're here with game number 1, playing against Richard. Our hand's relatively juicy. We're going to send Restage to the graveyard. So Restage is one of the main cards we want to be sending to the graveyard. So what Restage does, it allows you to search for one of the Magician's hand cards to your hand. So we have Magician's right hand and left hand in the graveyard. Let's see. Calbeck's going to send another card. Yugioh sends another. And then Restage, Restage. We're pretty much grabbing all the Magician hand cards out of our deck. There's left hand. There's right hand. We're gonna play left hand, so that we pretty much, with this setup, we are negating the first spell and trap per turn. So you might be thinking left hand, that sounds kind of bad, but you gotta remember, imperm is a spell, and people do use imperm. So if your opponent does have imperm in their hand, they're not just gonna be able to imperm our boss monster and pass. But this is what I love about the deck. We milled all those cards, and now look at our hand. Our hand is 5 cards in hand. Our hand is juicy right now. He's going to play Magician's Draw. He's playing Dark Magician. Before you guys say anything, there are other decks, higher tier decks in this. I still think we didn't go into the boss monster. We weren't able to. Technically, we could have, but we just weren't going to bother because we have 2 of these guys out on the field. But I just wanted to show that even without the boss monster, you guys can dominate. Pretty much locked him out of playing the game, and that's typically how you play the deck. But we're going to go into some other games where we reduce some of the fusion, and it is pretty good. Hello, we're here with game number 2. I'm playing against Goku, and our hand is pretty juice. We're going to summon Schmidt. We're going to activate Schmidt's ability. You guys know how this works. We grab right hand. I would say always grab right hand before left, because it's more apt. Your opponent's going to use Harpies or something to wipe your back row. So that way you have at least some type of protection. Now we're going to be using Magical Fusion. Also, if you didn't realize, I did this so I wouldn't have to use red, because I wanted to use red to send By Street to the graveyard. So now we're going to use our last spell in hand. And boom, we're doing this. One misplay I make here is I actually, during his draw phase, I should have activated this just so I have a spell in hand so I don't have to get rid of By Street just in case I activate Schmidt. Because remember, the only way this card activates right now, you have to activate a spell or a monster spellcaster effect. So this makes me having to get rid of By Street, but we do have to get rid of Albaz, or he's just going to suck up our monster and go into Mirror Jade most likely. So we do pop it. We summon our negate. We add creation to hand. And now he's going to activate that. I'm just going to use this to add another spell to my hand. I just grab another one because we're probably sending it to the graveyard to Madam, but it gets negated because of Magician's Right Hand. It's a pretty juice card. Nice sets. This card works on my turn too. I don't know if he realizes that. We're going to special summon Keldo. We're getting Max Seed. This is no problem though. And he's actually going to chain Branded Opening, which allows me to chain my Witchcrafter card. He gets negated. And I special summon my Keldo. Calbeck activates the effect, sends a bunch of shit to the graveyard. Restage gets milled. So this is actually good on his part. You're going to see he activates. I know you guys are going to think this is stupid, but because he's like, you have Keldo on the field. Like if he just activates this before you get rid of, before you use Keldo, you just stop it. But with Restage, I was actually going to grab left hand, and that would have gave me a trap negate. So he had to activate this. This is the only opportunity he's ever going to get this off anyway. So I actually don't think this is like a horrible thing to do. And it does force me to actually use my Keldo's ability to get him off the board. He just completely locked out of the game. And this is why I play the Ishizu cards, because originally I was thinking not playing them, but like, dude, they're so good. And I'm just going to tell you right now, Kelbeck is amazing. I'll talk more about that in the recap, but Kelbeck is really good card. We add the fusion to our hand. I'm going to use creation, add that. And now we're going to use Ginny to target. So what I did essentially is I sent a spell, a Witchcrafter spell that allows this card to double attack. So this is how we reach lethal. We could have killed him a million different ways, but this way is just the quickest. Hello, we're playing against Desalshi, whatever that name. I'm bad with names. We're going to go Illusion of Chaos. You're about to see why Magician Soul is so good. Just look how juicy it is. Get to draw 2 brand new cards, and those cards are just going to come right back to my hand afterwards. So I love it. I love the card so much. We go into Hita. Now we're going to activate Fusion. Boop, boop. Go into Vice Madam. Then I play Magician's Right Hand. So you might think I'm crazy here. You'll see why. I'm going to link... The reason I link this off rather than keeping it on the board is because I want to actually use Hita's effect, Schmidt's effect from the graveyard. So I can send a... I want to send my protection to the graveyard. Because remember, By Street gives you spell, gives you your Witchcrafter's destroy protection in battle and card effect. So he's gonna go for Harpies, right hand. I'm gonna tell you right now, Dolce, whatever this guy's name is, yeah, this guy has the most insane going second hand. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Triple tactics. He's gonna steal a monster. So here, I actually use my pop to hit myself. I know he's not going to die, but I do that because By Street is going to protect it. But I just don't want him getting the pop effect. So, it's for him not to get the pop effect, I just use it. Otherwise, he would have just took this monster. Don't feel like dealing with that. So, he ends up taking my Hita. He goes into Moye. And this is actually where I make a mistake. When he took Hita, I legit should have just went into, like when he played Triple Tactics. You know what? When Triple Tactics resolved, I think I should have had this on, and I should have went right into my Negator. Now that he's, because I guess hindsight's 2020, but he had Called by the Grave anyway, so it really didn't matter. But I'm just saying, like, realistically, probably should have done that. Now I'm just gonna add a Spell and Trap. We had the fusion. I have a feeling he's going to kill the fusion, so that's where I grab it. Yep, he had Vishuddha in hand too, so he just bounces it. And then he plays... This is not a good play, by the way. Like, I don't want to be nitpicky, but, like, he's going to go into Chen Ying, which allows him to search. He's probably going to search Long Yan, right? And then when he searches Long Yan, he's going to... It doesn't really matter. I'm just being nitpicky, but like he didn't have to do this because he kind of wasted. Like he's gonna end up with Vishuddha in the graveyard when it could have ended up in hand, and you might not think that's relevant. But if I wipe his board and don't kill him, he's gonna have Vishuddha in hand to lead his turn off with. So it is kind of relevant. So he's gonna go to Yugioh. Yugioh is going to search for the Long Yan. This is just gonna be a random draw. So, this is the thing about Kelbeck that's really amazing that people don't talk enough about, I think. So, this card's really insane. This card's really good into Branded. It's really good into BA. That is Burning Abyss. This card's really good into Sword Soul. And you're going to see exactly why. So, anytime they have to discard a card from the hand or deck... and then they special summon a monster, or actually anytime they send a card from that, you can just do this to a special summon monster. So in this case, he summons this with the token. I'm able to activate Kelbeck, get rid of his token, and now he can't kill me. He was going to have lethal. Now lethal's removed. You could be saying, "Oh, Fatsoid, why don't you just bounce this?" The other card was going to if he went to Baron or he went into Chen Ying, it would have been worse for me. So, now it's our turn. We're going to activate Illusion of Chaos. You know, just doing some hood rat shit. Magician Souls. So, this is going to bait this. I just want him to use this ability. Because once he uses that, I am going to be able to win with Magicalized Fusion. So, I am not too worried here. He goes for the negate. Takes the bait. Go down Enema. Suck up his monster, and then we're going into Celine. Celine has a million tokens, and boom. There goes our Vice Madam. And we trigger the Vice Madam off Celine. That's why we don't use Celine's effect first, because we need it to trigger Vice Madam. So we pop, and then we go into Access Code, the strongest Witchcrafter card there is. Because remember, access code plus this equals exactly 8,000, which makes it a very nice OTK. Hello, we're here with the fourth and final match, and this is probably part of the problem with this deck you're going to see with my opening hand. You might be saying, oh, well, that opening hand doesn't seem that bad. You have a fusion, you can go into the fusion. The problem is we're lacking spells, and specifically we're lacking Witchcrafter spells, which hurt us drastically. Very, very painful. We're going to use this ability to special summon a card. Now, he locks us out. We were actually going to be able to set up at least one spell, right? But this guy locks us out with the Ash. Because what you were going to do is we're going to summon another Schmidt. And then Schmidt, we would turn it into Artemis. And then we can use Schmidt's effect to send a Witchcrafter spell to the graveyard. Or Witchcrafter card to the graveyard. And we were going to send the spell so it gets added It was actually going to be kind of nice because we would actually have some type of way of protecting our board. So, but this guy ashes me because he smells, so not much I can do about it. So we just pass. Remember, we still have a spell negate, and this card still will act if he tries to activate spells, which there's a lot of spells out in the game right now. We're still going to get a lot of a value out of it. So, first thing he does, E-Tally, easy. We're just going to special summon a Witchcrafter. There goes one. We negate. He's going in danger. Discards the Call by the Grave, which is incredible. So, remember how I said Kalbic is good into BA? Well, specifically, it's good into Cherubini. So, Cherubini sends a card from the deck to the graveyard. And if you guys know how Burning Abyss cards play, the reason why you can play Burning Abyss cards in other archetypes like Phantom Knights and stuff is because when they're in the zones for Cherubini, the monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects, and they have a specific card effect that if there is any other monster type on your side of the field other than Burning Abyss, these cards are destroyed. So, if you get rid of Cherubini, they actually can't extend the board, and that's how you win the game. So, the Kalbeck is insanely good into Cherubini. And look, he's going to special summon his Graf. Well, he's going to special summon from deck. He's going to special summon Sir. That's usually what they go into. Yep, Sir. And now he can't. He has to pass the turn because this just ends his turn right here. They usually don't, like, people running small BA engines, they usually don't have, like, all, like, Farfa and all, like, all these other cards in their deck. So he actually recycled just to see if we could hit the spell on the top, to see if he could send, her. Honestly, though, maybe I should have sent just I should have summoned Pottery and just sent her. That way we just have more damage on the board. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to link climb. I need to get her in the graveyard too. If you've seen, I did the collaboration. I'm going to do the collaboration play, or I already did it. And then we go to access code. And he's dead. I would say he had a remote chance of winning if he was playing a big BA engine, but it doesn't look like he plays anything past Sir, unless he had the cards in his hand. So, either way, GG. Goodbye. Let's get to the recap and let's talk about how the deck performed. Hello, welcome to the recap, and thank you for watching this far. If you guys enjoy this content, please consider giving me a sub. It is much appreciated, and yeah, just do it. Just do it. Do it. Yeah, just do it. Click the button. And other than that, join our Discord. Our Discord's popping. We have tournaments every Friday, and Discord is the way you find out about those tournaments. So yeah, join the Discord. We also do weekly replay reviews where we do a top 5 replay of the week. So yeah, if you want to join that too, it's pretty sweet. Let's talk about how the deck performed though. So the deck actually performed very well. It performed out of 20 games, the past 20 games, I performed 14-6. And I'm actually going to say 3 of those games I lost was my own fault. I messed up, and I'm going to go to the first problem with the deck. The triggers or chains, whatever you want to call them, from the effects of the cards take very long in Master Duel to resolve. So it ends up burning into your turn by a lot. So like for some, it's kind of annoying. I know it's probably done this for like rule purposes, but like when, let's say Creation's in the graveyard, Holiday's in the graveyard, this card's in the graveyard, and this card's in the graveyard. It doesn't actually act as a chain link for some reason, unless my game is broken somehow, but it doesn't act like a chain link. And you have to do each activation separate. So you have to be like, accept, okay, it resolves, adds to your hand, accept, add to your hand, accept, resolves, add to your hand, accept, adds, resolves, add to your hand. It's kind of annoying. You gotta be honest. And it takes up a lot of time, especially if you're like bad with clicking. And I can only imagine if you're on your phone, it's even more annoying. Secondly, you have to like really know the lines of play with this deck because, like I said, the timer is not your friend. I had multiple games where I was like super close on timer, and one game in particular that I know for a fact that I ended up losing to timer, and it was a game that we 100% could have won. There was legit like 2 to 3 games where I legit lost because of the timer. So just to give you an idea, because like there's a lot of thinking going along because there's so many lines of play because this card has 3 effects, so you have to. There's a lot more thinking. And also like what like all of those games that I'm talking about, I was going second. So like it was me navigating through like 3-4 negates. And we still would have won those matches just to kind of show how powerful the deck can be. And I know you guys are saying, it's Witchcrafter. That sucks. It sucks. I think the deck got like arguably like a lot better with this. Do I think it's a top tier deck? Do I think it's a tier 1 deck? No. Do I think it's a tier 2 deck? No. But like, I would say this is a solid like rogue deck now. Like before, I would probably say it was a joke deck, free win. I'd play it against this deck, and I'd be like, oh, it's a free win deck. I would say this is a solid like rogue deck now, like a pretty good one. Yeah, it's still like really annoyed this is an ultra rare, but if you can get over like crafting this and crafting 3 of these, or just pulling these in packs, if you get lucky and you pull these in packs, awesome. I did not get lucky. I actually pulled 2 of these in packs, and I pulled 2 of these in packs, so I only had to craft 1. But yeah, I think I think I probably would be running 3 if I had the 3rd. Things I would change about this deck, like I said, I think Caldo can probably be replaced by Snow. I feel like a lot of times when I grasped greener, I wanted to see Snow more often, because Snow is like crucial for you to break boards. I know you guys might be hating Snow. I know you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, no, I hate this card. It's so broken. Well, dude, you're playing Witchcrafter. You need at least 1 broken card in the deck so you can actually win games, okay? And this card's really busted for breaking boards because you just flip them face down. You can chain activate, so if they try and banish it, you can like actually dodge the banish. It has a lot of playthrough, and the good thing too is if you end up banishing a lot of your spells, we do have 1 trap in the deck called Patronus, and what Patronus does is when you banish this, you can add a number of banished Witchcrafter spells with different names and add them all to your hand. So if you have, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you could technically add 7. You could technically add 7 cards to your hand if you end up banishing them all through, let's say, Snow. So it's not really the end of the world if you banish the spells, because you can get them back with the 1 trap. With that argument, maybe you put this trap up to 2. I'm not 100% sure. You could also banish the spells in your deck, in your graveyard with Masterpiece. This card lets you special summon from deck by banishing spell cards, so this card also works really well. But I do think Snow is probably the more ideal way you're going to do this. And the crazy thing about Snow, too, is she's a spellcaster, so every time you activate her effect, it does allow you to get the trigger off of Vice Madam, so you can activate one of her other abilities. So they all kind of work really well together, right? Like, that's why I'm saying Snow. Like, I'd probably replace 2 Keldo. I would not replace Agita or Kelbic, because I think Kelbic's ability is nuts. Like even if you said I don't want to play any of the Ishizu cards, I would replace these 2 and replace these 2 and keep double Kelbic. This card is so good at just a hand trap in your hand, because it fights against meta decks. Like, you're going to play against a decent amount of Sword Soul. You'll definitely play a decent amount of Branded. Branded's a pretty popular deck, and it's good into both of those. And if you end up milling it, you get to mill more cards, which actually helps you out. So the only thing I don't like is you do mill your opponent's cards too, so sometimes you'll have a tough time with that. But overall, I think the deck was pretty solid. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this probably like a 7.5. Solid rogue deck. On a tier list, it's going to be rogue. It might, maybe. There might be an iteration that maybe ends up hitting like tier 3 Or maybe this is tier 3. I'm not sure. I think this is Rogue. Best, like, to be honest. So I think you could climb to Diamond at least with the deck. Diamond 1, I think I would have to have a lot more practice with it. Like I said, I was getting my feet wet, and I definitely made misplays. But I think the biggest takeaway was that this deck has so many lines of play, and I think that makes the deck a lot more... It reminds me of Punk, where Punk has a lot of lines of play too. And it's what's exciting about the deck, you know? So, if you like having a little bit of a complicated deck, I think this is the deck for you. Another cool interaction I just want to talk about before we end the video is one that I actually learned on stream. Is apparently when you use... Because these Witchcrafter cards have a once per turn effect. And I was told by someone who plays Witchcrafter a lot that Genny, when you use a Witchcrafter spell, when you use it, you can also use it with Genny, and it actually does not... It doesn't break the rule. It does banish it from the graveyard, but it allows you to play like a card twice, pretty much, in a turn. So technically, you can activate Creation and then activate Creation again with Genny. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. If that's wrong, please tell me down in the chat. I wasn't 100% sure. I couldn't really test it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have a great day, and goodbye.